Hello everyone, it's Akuna from Grainlux and welcome to another episode of Toolkit Tuesday, where we provide you with the tools to empower you to live a life that is fulfilling and impactful. So a bit of story time again. As most of you know, I quit my corporate job at the height of the pandemic. Actually, it was a couple of days before the very first lockdown in South Africa. I think the official lockdown was on the 26th of March and I resigned on the 23rd of March. That's another story for another day, which I explain in my upcoming reintroduction part 2 video, so watch out for that. Anyway, when I left, I didn't initially start working on Grainlux. I had another job in the education sector, which was very new to me, yet very exciting. I was learning a lot. It was invigorating, challenging, and a much needed boost to my confidence. However, after 3 months, that venture came to an abrupt end, and not by my own choice. The way in which it ended was a reminder of a promise I had made to myself. It was a test to see if I would be true to what I told myself when I left my corporate job. By the way, that's life. Things will show up over and over again, sometimes as a reminder. And so what I focus on is my rate of response, more so than why the same test is showing up. Anyway, one of the things I said to myself when I left my corporate job was that I will never fight to stay in a space where I don't feel valued. If the value I bring on offer isn't accepted, well, that's okay. In no way does it mean that I have no value. Far from it. It just means that what they value and what I have are not aligned. And the only reason I was able to get to that point was because I had created a core value framework for my life and for work. And so, today's tool to help you live a life that is more fulfilling and impactful is this. Create a core value framework for your life and work. Yes, have a value system for your life and for work that will serve as your guiding principles. I created this for myself because of the turmoil and depression I'd experienced between 2015 and 2019. Part of this was attributed to me having struggled with defining who I was, issues of belonging, which were attributed to being an immigrant child. And I say all this because what I realized was that I often moved through the world not being intentional about who I was, what I wanted. It was as if life kept happening to me, whether it was at my job or the things that came my way. I sort of fell into them. And that is not to say that that was a bad thing. I suppose it served me during those periods. However, the more work I did on myself, the more I realized that some of the conflicts I experienced between myself and the situations I found myself in was because I had no set of guiding principles that informed some of the decisions I made. So you can only imagine what that felt like. But during this period, I came across a quote that fundamentally changed the way I viewed myself and my life. And it was a quote by Diane von Furstenberg, who's an international fashion designer, which made a considerable shift in perspective for me and was a real game changer. And it's this. She said, and I quote, "I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew the kind of woman I wanted to be." How powerful. I remember the first time I heard it, it was like drinking a glass of ice cold water after being thirsty for so long, or in my case, hot water. It was such a relief. It gave me permission, which I didn't know I was looking for. This permission allowed me to focus on who I wanted to be and allowed me to start exploring the sort of characters and values and virtues that I wanted to embody. And so, by creating a value framework for my life, I have some guiding principles by which I now live my life. And any time that is in conflict, I know that I will not engage with it no matter how lucrative or enticing it might be. Now, your core values will influence the way you feel and think about yourself because they will begin to strengthen who you are as a person, how you look at yourself and how you interact with others. All that you do will begin to flow out of your core values. And so they become non-negotiables. Like Pastor A.R. Bernard said, your core values point the needle in your compass, illuminating the pathway towards living a meaningful life, one that is filled with passion and purpose. Now, who doesn't want to live that way? In our online course, How to Figure Out Who You Are When You Don't Know Who That Is, which you can find on our website, www.grainlux.com, www.toolkit.com/Grainlocks Academy, I delve further into this by providing you with practical tools on how you can begin to create core value system for yourself. So why not check that out? Anyway, the thing about your framework is that you become very intentional about the sort of values and virtues and characters you wish to embody. Knowing this, you are then required to actively work and build on them. So you might be wondering, what are core values? Well, they are traits or qualities that are not just worthwhile, they represent an individual's priorities, deeply held beliefs, and core fundamental driving forces. A virtue, on the other hand, as defined by Alexander Harvard, the author of Virtuous Leadership, a great book, and the founder of the Harvard Virtuous Leadership Institute, said, and I quote, "A virtue is a habit of the mind, the will, and the heart, which allows us to achieve personal excellence and effectiveness." So what that means is that one acquires virtue through practice. And the thing about practice is its intentionality. And so the more intentional we are about growing in virtue, the more we realize ourselves as human beings. And so, as you begin to create this value framework for yourself, interrogate each value of virtue by understanding what it means for you to embody it, why it's important to you, and what it closes down for you if that particular virtue, value, or character is not in your framework. Remember, if values are the goal, virtues are the way to get there. Similarly, it is important to have a work value system. What this does is that you're intentional about defining what work, not your job, but rather what work means to you. It will include what your non-negotiable values for work are, what you're willing to compromise on, and the things that you won't even begin to entertain. This way, you're not just moving from job to job without actually being intentional. I mean, we spend most of our time at work, so why not be intentional about what that will look like for you in order to thrive, feel fulfilled, and be impactful? When you begin to create this, be as specific as possible. Try not to leave it as being generic. So for example, if a value for you at work is that you want growth and development, well, what would that look like? Does growth mean a promotion every 2 years? Or if you want flexibility, what does that look like? Does it mean working from home or having a fluid work environment where you can have multiple projects at once? See what I mean? One man's meat is another man's poison. So you need to define what each value would mean to you and what it would look like. I can't stress how important creating a core value framework for your life and work is. It is a complete game changer, and it was for me, so I know it will be for you. Be mindful that desire alone is not enough. It requires persevering effort, which will be required throughout your life. But by at least having a sense of that which you wish to embody on your radar, you can actively begin to work on it. Now, the question is, what sort of habits would you like to develop in order to achieve personal excellence and effectiveness? As always, I'd love to hear from you. Do you already have a core value framework for your life and work? What has this opened up for you? How did it aid you in living a fulfilling and impactful life? Please leave your comments and questions in the comment section below or send it to info@grainlocks.com. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Toolkit Tuesday. Remember, you're worthy of a life that is fulfilling and impactful. And so, be who you are and be that well. Until next time, take care. Ciao.